I was thinking about Facebook because Facebook is a good way to do it, and a lot of people have the reach there. But you already have like a YouTube channel, so it'd be a good way to you know get some people to the channel as
Yeah.
well.
So I could put this on my channel or,
Yeah, I would imagine. I mean, I'll have a recording, so I'll just bounce you the recording right after this, and
oh,
then you'll have
cool.
it. Ta-da! Okay, so that's live, and here we are. I wish
It is
I could. I wish I had music to kick it off, but
really
I
like
some
Rocky. You want me to, I could sing it.
I would love it.
Oh, you bombed.
Um, yeah, I was not prepared. I was only prepared with from style to sass and a whole lot of kick
Well,
ass.
like I had
Right?
to, like, oh, okay, wait, here we go. I got Rocky in the background. There he is.
Oh, I knew that was going to be a big part of it. I saw it
Yeah.
on there.
Yeah, I am him. Well, my brother keeps telling me I'm not, but I am.
Dude, wow. So what happened?
What's that?
So I said, so when did that happen? I mean, you have a blog, people know who you are. And for those that don't or whatever, so, I mean, we knew each other as kids. And then I saw you online and I was like, dude, what is this girl doing? She's killing it. Like there's holding up a belt. She's beating people up. And then she's like a mom and she's got this awesome hair, like pure rock star hair. So I'm thinking, what's happening? And I mean, yeah. How did that? I read your bio, but like, how did that start? I mean, when you
Uh,
were a kid, you loved it. You love fighting. What's up?
no, I mean, I always loved Rocky. Like, I remember when the movie came out, and I would just pretend like to be training like him. And I mean, I was like 7. And no, like I never, I don't know. I always just was like at Emmerich Park watching my brothers play baseball. No one even knew I was alive. You know, people were like, oh, you have a daughter? So I'm like, okay, cool. This is what I did. Lived at the ballpark. Went to Joe Pilka's for the swimming parties after, like
Yeah.
everywhere. And then I don't know, after high school, I was like, I went to Carmel and like just didn't do really that great there. Like I was just kind of, drank and got arrested for shoplifting. It was a mess, a hot mess. So then I worked at this tanning place, and I just decided to go over to this martial arts place. And there was 2 guys that were teaching. One is my current trainer now, Tommy Bach, for Sung Hayes in Buffalo Grove, and he had me a fight within a month. I mean, I had never even seen a kickboxing match. And it was kind of like Karate Kid, he's like, he never brought a fighter to a fight and I'm there. It was like city. And he was like, it was literally like, first time you, first time me. Like, I was like, what do you, like, you want to get in there and do this? Like, I didn't even know what I'm doing. I'm like, I've never even seen a kickboxing match. You didn't see him on TV, like, UFC wasn't a thing. I was like, I'm not doing this. My family was there. I'm like, I'm not getting in there. He's like, yeah. And I don't know. It was kind of like falling in love. Like I just loved it, loved it, loved it. I just was hooked. I mean, I just till this day. So
You mean you went in to the place, Hopsy? What was it called? I wrote it down, but you said it differently than I was going to pronounce it. But what's the name of the place you go?
well, it was a
Well,
different place. Kind of
okay.
kind of followed him around. It was a place in Buffalo Grove Town Center. It was called Airwolf at the time. And then that guy, I didn't even have money. He was like, let's just try it out, like I think he gave it to me for like $30 a month. And then my trainer and then that was closed down. And then he was, I don't even know. I think we like worked out in a park, like with a bunch of ladies that went there. I don't know. I always kind of kept in touch with him.
Yeah.
I didn't want it to like, I didn't want to, I'm like, oh my God, I actually found something I actually love and I'm kind of good at, so, but now he owns Sung Hayes in Buffalo Grove. He's owned for a long time and he's a world champion. But I stopped doing it for the longest time. And,
I
I'll tell you,
noticed that.
yeah. So I became a hairstylist, became a personal trainer. And I feel like I just kind of suppressed it for a really long time. I don't know why I quit. I could have probably, if I would have known now what I know then, I would have balanced it kind of like I'm doing now. I'm like, I'm kind of like, I spent all those years missing it. And then when I came back when I was 40, my trainer was like, he just saw me working out, I guess. He's like, do you ever, I went back for Taekwondo. I was like, I have my 3 kids. I'm just going to do Taekwondo, not that Taekwondo is not like big, but I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to do this.
Just gonna do, yeah.
Yeah. So
Take it
then,
easy. We're just gonna do Taekwondo instead.
yeah, I'm like my black belt in a month. I'm still like at a purple belt. I'm like purple belt for like life. I don't know. And he asked me one day if I missed it. And I was like, I'm like, yeah, all the time, and Roger, my husband, would always joke and he's like, you're like the football guy who like talks about his one touchdown pass. He's like, you talk about like running the field, like the
Glory
old
days.
let it go. You know what I mean? He's like, oh my God, it's been 17 years. You got to let it go. You know what I mean?
Didn't he know that you couldn't? I mean,
what's that? Sorry, you cut
didn't he know that you just couldn't?
I mean, I think he got that after a while. I mean, I had 3 kids and I was content, I mean, of course, like I wasn't like missing out on anything, but I was loved it and talked about it, and so when my trainer asked me, I'm like, yeah, of course I miss it. Like, whatever. He said, well, go home and talk to Roger about it. And you should go. I'm like old, I have 3 kids. I'm fulfilled, I'm good. And he's like, no, this is for you. You know what I mean? And I was like, I don't know. Like, I think as a mom, sometimes too, you kind of feel guilty. You're like, no, I really am like, I'm fulfilled. Like I've got it all. Like you feel like you have it all, I have 3 beautiful children. I've, been working in an amazing salon for all this time. Like how much more could you want? And like, I don't know, you kind of just made me see that like, it's okay. Like it's okay to go after something I have let go and regretted, for so long. And so within a couple months, I think it was like, this took a little more time. I think he had my first fight. He's like, okay, you're fighting. I was like, oof. I'm like, that's like, what? Okay. I'm 40 big kids. I don't even, what do they wear these days? I'm like, the young kids wear the ring. Like, what is going on? So yeah, funny. Did it. And then, yeah, I don't know. There's a goal behind all this, like something I missed out when I was younger. But the last 3 fights, the one I got my belt and this one I did in January, I literally will get in the ring and I'll sit there, I'll smile at my opponent because I'm so happy in the moment. You know what I mean? And I'm like, no, not many people get second chances. And I'm like, that's my whole thing with my blog and like everything. Like you can do it. Like you can do it. Like you just have to balance it. And like dance on the treadmill, be present. Like I'm like, I am so happy just to be here and do this. And like, I'm nervous as all I don't know if you can swear on YouTube, but I'm like, sure. But like, it's all about getting out of your comfort zone. And my kids see me lose. They see me try. They're doing it. They're like, it's just like, I'm not forgetting about them. I'm taking them with me and I'm making them a part of this like thing. And, it's not just, kickboxing in my life. We do so much other stuff, but I feel like I'm just rambling.
No, this is great. Yeah, no, this is great. I like had a whole like flow and everything, but you're just like hitting it. So, well, but I don't want to gloss over like, so in 97, right? Because, that was like when you started, you walked into this place, all of a sudden he's like, you should start fighting, you and Miyagi. And I say that because you would reference like his first fight, my first fight. I've never been here. He's like stealing a belt. Like, I guess I got to wear this thing. Do you have a trainer? And it's like, what? So you get in, how many fights in before because you were undefeated there for a little bit, right? Like your first 7 fights or something like that, or how'd that go?
Yeah, 7-0. Yep. And then I lost.
And then you lost, but you won a title before that, like this regional title, and then you lost to IKF, or what happened there?
Yeah, it was the regional IKF, and I won that. So that kind of gave you the opportunity to go to the IKF, International Kickboxing Federation, and I got there, and this girl kind of showed up, and everyone has excuses, but they found out later she was on steroids and I got knocked out. And, but that was like I'd say the most memorable. I mean, it was like a fight I could walk away from because I gave it my all. Like I knew I lost and I gave it 110%. Like there was nothing I could do at that time to do anything different. And I just was like out. I mean, she was great. Like,
so in that fight, and can you feel that you're outmatched because of the way she's moving, because of maybe how fast she is, or like, your cardio wasn't up for that. Maybe you didn't, like you said, you weren't sure that she was going to be there or something. I mean, not that that is an excuse because we should prepare anyway, but I wonder like, yeah, like in the moment, could you tell, or were you, I don't know, like where was your mind?
Yeah, I could tell before I got in there, and even sometimes when I used to watch like it over and over and over, my body language was like, when when they bring the 2 fighters to the center, like I could tell my body language that I was like, shit. You
were already, yeah.
I knew that like, I already lost mentally in my head before I got. So it was tough. She moved like, like the sport has advanced so much since then, and she just moved, and yeah, she's very powerful.
What are things like that that have changed really in the sport? Like, I mean, technique wise, because what can change truthfully? I mean, it's something that's been around for, I guess, thousands of years, whatever, in some form or fashion. So what did you notice that changed? That's something,
Um,
because that's interesting. I mean,
yeah. Well, like I said, my trainer, he's a world, champion, and he's got like, I don't know, like 7 or 8 belts on his wall that I threaten to steal if I don't get this one, and just like dust him off for him. But I at the time when we were training, he wasn't a world champion, and like I would we would just train and he would just spar and pretty much, beat the crap out of me. And I was like, okay, if like I could take it from
I
him,
gotcha. Yeah.
like, just sparring, you got your jab, your cross, your hooks, but we didn't really practice the footwork. The footwork has come like, oh my gosh, just the angles and the setup and the foot movement. I mean, they keep telling me this over and over again. Like, even if you watch UFC, like you're like, oh my gosh, there's so much more behind and just punching. Like your cardio, your training, your just the way you train certain muscles, the way you like, just, everything.
Yeah.
It's just everything. It's
Probably even the nutrition. Like, I mean, you're into nutrition,
yes.
like the golfers these days. I'm really into golf. They weren't lifting weights. Tiger Woods was like the only guy that was doing stuff like that, and they thought he was crazy, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, that fight I was talking about when I got knocked out, and if any girlfriends that were on my team, they remember this. I was sucking lemons to cut weight for like 2 days, just pure lemons. On the way there, we were going to Ohio, or I think it was Iowa, Council Bluffs, Iowa. And they remember me sucking lemons in the back just to cut weight. I was like, no muscle. I was like string game, that's so much weight. But now there's this total science behind it. You know what I mean? Like with your water and like everything. And it's come a long way.
Awesome.
It wasn't even a thing back then. And now it's like, I'm sure everybody knows it's huge now.
So you did, you had some really good fights. Then you had this loss, and then you took a little while off. And I'm guessing because you had a child at that point. You had your third, I think, maybe, right? Or like, no, not at that point. You had a 1-year-old though, I thought, when you came back, maybe, or something. Did I read that wrong?
No, I started work. So I started doing hair, and that's when I kind of was like, it wasn't a big thing. Girls weren't making money. It was like a sport. And I'm like, okay, I really have to like not be injured because I just have to support myself, I'm like, so I did as a personal trainer. So I took a good, like, I don't know, like 15 years off. I mean, I think I stopped when I was like 26, and then I didn't have my first baby till I was 36, and I didn't all. So the first time I came back after I was 26 was 40. So it was a long time. I did it, but I did it as like a workout. I taught.
That's what I wondered. Yeah.
Kyle McElroy. I don't know if you remember him, but he has an awesome gym, Striking Arts Academy in Wakanda. So we kind of like feed off of him, and he was also a good trainer of mine back in the day too. So he's I lost my train of thought, but so
That's
yeah,
okay.
so I taught for him for a while. So I kind of was the dead avenue for a while, and I taught a bunch of the girls from the salon, but then I don't know. Yeah, I never imagined going back. I never.
And when you say coming back, like you weren't just coming back to the sport to like do it. You were coming back with the intention of actually fighting. No. Okay. No. You just wanted to start doing it again because it was a part of your life.
Yes. Yeah. My husband, my trainer will disagree. They're like, you knew what you were getting yourself into.
Yeah. Right.
Well, because I don't know, it changes when you have babies and kids, and I don't want to get hurt in my head. And like my brother, Matt, he's like, people are like, why are you doing this? And that's another thing. Like, why, like, what are you doing? Cause you're getting hit in the head. I mean, I still have a girl at my school who's like, wait, you actually get hit and punched and kicked in the head? I'm like, oh yeah. Like, why would I want to do that? And I'm like, I don't know. What do you love? Like, what do you love to do? What like sets your soul on fire? You know what I mean? So I'm like, and because of the way we're training now, I mean, we're training smarter, hopefully, yeah, there's chances for everything there, but you could get in a car and die tomorrow. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I don't know, we're protected. We got headgear now. He's teaching me to try not to get punched so much. I'm not really good. I'm really kind of heavy on my feet. Work on it. I don't know if I'll ever get there.
Yeah.
Heavy on his feet. He wasn't a good mover.
Good point. You just take a hit, right? That was one of your quotes that you had on your site too, right? It's not like how hard you hit, getting back up, and like you just seem like you're pushing through. That's awesome. I love that you did the Taekwondo. One of your best. You said this already, but like, you said just if I put my head down on the pillow, as long as I did my best, and like, how do you know that? How do you know if you did? Is it because you did what you said you were going to do that week, or just, the feeling of, did I really tried or not? You know what I mean? Like,
Um, you mean just like in life, not
yeah,
just,
well, just part of that, but like, yeah, I mean, in life too, because how do you know? Is it we always know that we're cheating? We would be cheating ourselves. We can just tell. Like, you didn't
yeah,
give.
right. Well, you know what? I should share this on my blog too, but I feel like, I have a strong faith. So I get up in the morning, and there's always this prayer card, which has a pretty strong meaning to me, but I'm always like, it says it in there. Like if I could lay my head down and say that I did my best. So I do think about that. And there's times where I'm like, oh gosh, like, I don't know. I think cause I just kind of go over to my head at night, you know what I mean? And I'm, like with my kids, if I like lost it or something, no one's perfect. Gosh, like deal with my head all the time. And I'm like, do-do-do. And then I have this person over here being like, do-do-do, do-do-do. I deal with it in my head. So it's like, I don't know. You just know. I mean, I think people that are present and take accountability for what they're doing throughout the day and their life and their kids and everything. I think I'd hope
Okay.
Maybe sometimes people don't know. And I mean, maybe that's what's wrong with this world, that you should look more internal and just think about like, I don't know. I forget.
I
I
think you're
don't know.
right.
I think a lot about other people and like how I treat it. I don't know. I'm just that kind of person that always thinks about other people and like what I did or didn't do. And then,
No,
I don't know.
no,
Do you
I
know?
get it. You're conscientious. Yeah, I think that we know, right? If we gave it or if we kind of half-assed it, or
Yeah.
if we
I mean, there's some
were.
days I wake up and I'm like, I just don't want to do this. Like, I
Oh,
don't want to teach my kids. I don't even, I hated school then. I'm like, I want to throw up now, like teaching them math. I'm like, I just don't do this. Like, but I
right.
do it. And I think pushing through that is like, okay, like, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm doing okay. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. No, you said something really cool. I really liked it. You said you wear a lot of different belts, right? We all probably wear different belts. And I heard this really cool story about how guys in the military or women in the military and like police officers, that they have a high rate of divorce. And one thing is like when they come home, maybe from overseas, or when they come home from the job, they when they put on a uniform, that's like this persona, right? They like understand who that is, and maybe they're aggressive or whatever they are, but when they come home, they don't know how to like turn that person off, right? And how do they get into whatever else? And I was telling this to Jenny, my wife, the other day, and I was like, maybe when we come home from work, we actually put on like dad clothes or whatever that is, to like get into this mode of, because you come home from boxing or whatever, kickboxing, and then it's like, how do you get into parent mode without, does it's like, how were you raised? Dennis is your dad's name. Denny, right? What's your dad's name? Yeah.
did
I
you
don't know.
read that? Remember, he'll be so excited. He
No, I
remembers.
remembered. I thought it
Oh
was
my
Denny. I thought it was Denny.
day.
And like, was, the way you guys were raised. I mean, it's like, you come home from a sport that's aggressive and it's this, but it's like, how do you switch that off maybe sometimes and then be mom? Like, or does it bleed into, I'm sure too, but like, so it's just the switching of belts. Like, how do you balance all the personalities we have? Do you plan? Do you write meticulously down, or you just follow your heart? Like, what do you do?
Yeah, funny you say that because I actually did a video on the way to kickboxing. I tried to talk really fast at a stoplight, but then you see the car moving, and I'm like, oh, people are so like, oh my god, you're talking and videoing, but I didn't post it yet. But yeah, I was just that's exactly what my video was. Like I think I can't compare myself to a military person because that's like I feel like that's a whole nother ballgame. You know what I mean? I feel
Mhm.
like my girlfriend was in the military and I just think that is or being a police officer. So I don't really know about that. You know what I mean? I think that's a little bit, definitely more struggle, with what they go through versus like me just going because this is my passion, my like, you know what I mean? This is what I love to do. So I think it's easier for me to change those belts. Sometimes, like it weighs on me, like some things with my kids, but my video was like, I was going to kickboxing and I don't know. I just feel like, again, it goes back to being present, right? Like being mindful and being present. Like when I get to kickboxing, I kind of I used to bring it in. And I remember somebody saying, just leave it at the door. You know what I mean? So sometimes when I'm having a struggle with, your husband or your kids or whatever, like I pretend I'm actually carrying, I get made fun of a bag lady and I carry 8,000 bags with me. But I pretend I have the one from like my home and I just leave it. I leave it at that door. And when I get in there, it's me. It's about me. It's all, I'm present and I'm going to give that moment where I'm at 110%,
Oh,
and
I
then
like that.
there's another video where I get home and like Dominic crawls on the counter and he's like messing with my hair and I'm like, now I'm in mom mode. You know what I mean? And I left that there, and I talk about it and I bring it home, but I just try to like I just try to be present. Like I know my kids are, well, my son is 8. I thought he was 7 until he broke it to me the other day. He was 8. And I'm like, what? I'm like, you're 8. But I had to do the math in my head. But I know that they're okay, 7 or 8, 5 and 3. I know they are. You know what I mean? People are like, where'd the time go? Or I mean, I make an effort in my head every day to be like, this is their age. And like, I don't want to miss out on that by thinking about something else or regret. Like, I don't want to regret anything. That's a terrible feeling, and I feel like that's what I had in my 20s, regretting not fulfilling what I needed to do then. And I have a second chance, and I don't want to live with regret. So I don't want to like waste my thoughts being with them on something else, or I don't want to waste my thoughts at kickboxing because I don't know how long. I mean, I'm going to be 43. I'm not going to be doing like competing much longer. So I want to be there, and I feel like that's what, I don't know. People always, you hear that saying, what would you tell your younger self? That's what I would tell her. Just enjoy the moment. Just enjoy
That's
the
hard.
moment.
That's hard.
So
I know.
hard.
I remember being in college and not enjoying myself because I was like, I'm not living it right. I'm not doing this right. But I was like, on the outside, looked like I was having fun. And I probably was to some extent, but I always just knew like I wanted to get this part over with because I knew I was wasting my time because I was just drinking and partying and whatever, And I too have a ton of regret. And that's where all of this stems from. Do you drink to this day? Do you drink alcohol?
Occasionally, yeah.
Yeah.
And then like my husband and I like some, a couple drinks, just kind of we talk and like just unwind and stuff. But I mean, it'd be very rare if I like drink during the week or something because of all the crap we have to do and stuff.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think that people will say, and I'm leading into that, like, I don't have enough time because you do a lot, right? You have 3 kids, you have this passion, you have a husband, you have work. And it's like, then we want to read sometimes. We need time to ourselves. We need time to just sit and think for a minute. Like, when's the last time you and Roger even got to talk to each other, for gosh sakes? Because I mean, we have one child and I feel like Jenny and I never get to talk.
I know. Well,
but
one
it's
time,
like,
funny, it was like not long ago, and we were watching the fights, and the kids and Dante, all my kids will wake up, mom, and so I literally talked Roger's ear off till 5 a.m. I was like, wow, he goes, wow, you had a lot to say, but I felt like it was 5 minutes. You know what I mean? For some reason, I was like, and I'm like, and it was 5 a.m, and I was like, wow, I feel so much better.
Dude, that's awesome. I mean,
you do. If you have to stay up till 5 a.m. to talk to you, because that is where, I mean, if you're married, that's where it comes. You know what I mean? I want to stay married. I want to have this family. And my son's even like, I want us to be together. And I'm like, you have to find, if we're not together, he supports me so much. And going to kickbox and like tonight, like he had to travel and he's like, I want you to do this. Like, I want you to. And so he rearranges. I mean, you have to have that. Like, or I hope people have that, you know what I mean? Because without him, I'm like, I'd be fine.
Yeah.
But like, it helps to have that. You have to have a support system. I think and you have to put that person first. You have to. I used to think it was my kids and my husband, but like, it has to be my husband because then everything else can just kind of,
No, that's actually, that's really great. You're right. And that was the relationship first, right? I think that, Payne is only 5.5. And it's like, I see myself, at least in the beginning, like kind of almost deferring to him because he was young and he needed that. But it's like, I can't let our relationship suffer because if that does, then it's not going to work. Right. And so then you have to relearn that like whole dynamic. And that's really great advice because, man, it was easy for me to just get sucked into the world of this little kid that I didn't believe I could love so much. Like I love being a dad like, more than anything in the world, and so that's beautiful. The whole balance thing, people will say they don't have time. And I know we can make time for whatever, but I brought up the drinking thing just because I think that like, do I think you are now? No, I think people, because I think there's things in lives that we could let go of that take time off, like watching, Netflix or drinking alcohol and doing these things that are sucking time away from maybe these things we really love. But I had a couple other things for you along the way. God, I had so much to do, and you kind of just went through them all, which was awesome. There's one thing is you probably don't feel it so much, but I used to golf like a lot. And then Payne was a baby and now he's older. And now I don't golf on the weekends as much because I have guilt if I'm gone because I don't You know what I mean? Like, do you feel that when you go to the gym sometimes in this, that guilt, but you just got to know what, that you have to feed your soul in this, and that
Yeah.
gives you solace.
Yes, for sure. I feel like, my husband does that too because he used to hunt and play golf and stuff like that. And he travels. I know he struggles with that too. I think everybody does, but
Yeah.
I feel like you give so much to yourself, to your husband, and I feel like you give so much stuff to your kids and like everything, your errands. Like if you don't recharge your batteries and you don't set that time away, you're gonna burn out. And you know what? I feel like I tell my kids because they hate when I go. It's I leave when I'm not training for a fight. It's 2 days. It's 2 days a week. I
Okay.
just feel like I have to get there. I have to. And if I don't get go, whatever, it's fine. But like I feel like I'm such a better mom and person. Like I feel like people will like, okay, if a day goes by, I didn't have time for myself. That's great. But some people let weeks and months, and I'm like, I don't know, you have to, because you give so much of yourself to other people and other things that like, I don't know. I just feel like that little bit that you recharge your batteries and give to yourself, you're going to be like, holy crap. Like I filled my tank. Now I'm ready to give more. I can do this. You know what I mean? I can give you everything I have throughout the day. But sometimes I'm like, I have no more to give.
I know.
Mom is closed. Please go to bed.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I think that restores the patience. Like there's like a finite part of patience, but if you get to burn,
Yes.
then all of a sudden the patience gets restored. I don't know. That's the only thing that it gives me is really, I mean, it gives me more than that, but it's this patience thing.
Totally. Yes. And I know, and golfing is such a long game. Like like I said, my dude hunting, he's like, I'd be gone all day. I'm like, go. Like, you know what I mean? You have to go. Or like, we understand that.
And if we think there's any way that I have to like, I can't be there without knowing that Jenny's full in, that I'm there, because
Yes.
I will just be like, I got to get this over with. I got to get home. And then it's the worst.
Yes, it is the worst. You're just going through the motions. You're not really like, okay, I'm here, but I'm worried about like, then you can't leave it, right? Then you can't leave at the door because like there's too much. There's too much.
I like the bag idea. I like the bag idea. It's like, because you carry whatever equipment you go wherever. And it's like, I put the bag down and I'm like putting it down. I'm like, you know what I mean? I'm like putting the weight down.
Be there after an hour, and a half hour, or whatever it is, for a day of golf or whatever. Yeah, it'll be there. You can pick up on the way out and
No, it's so true.
And you're good.
How about advice to anybody that wants to start fighting, like women that want to start fighting, or even guys that want to start fighting? You know what I mean? Stuff you said you wish you knew then that you know now. What could you tell somebody who wants to do that?
What could I? Your body's going to give up before your mind does. Your body's going to give up. Like if you ever, with any workout, your body's going to give up. You're going to get tired. You're going to get fatigued. And that's always like, you're not tired. You're not tired. You can keep going. You have more to give. You have more to give, and find a trainer that's going to dig deep for you, because sometimes you're not going to do it for yourself.
That's awesome. I hear it.
And someone that is going to like just push you to that limit of just, I have my other trainer, Jim. He's just the same way. Like I'm surrounded by people who believe in me more than I believe in myself.
Oh,
Basically.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
You ever listen to David Goggins at all?
Yes. Oh my gosh. But I sat there and I just read his pages over and over, and they're like underlined and they're re-underlined and they're like underlined again. And I'm like, it's on my nightstand. Yes. Best book. I love it.
I had a question about, you answered it already, but it was like, what is the first thing besides like, go to the bathroom, brush our teeth, whatever. What's the first thing on your mind when you wake up in the morning? Like, what's the first thing you think of?
God.
Yeah. That's awesome. And then, so you have a devotional or something you said you do in the morning, or it's a prayer card or something you said?
Sometimes. Yeah. Well, usually it's like, I usually get that to sometimes, but I always say good morning and I say, thank you for this day. And if I'm worried, I kind of just try to like, I just kind of, here you go. Here, you take it.
Do you have time in the morning?
Hmm?
Do you have time in the morning to yourself? Like, do you get up before everybody, or what? How's that work?
No, I used to get up. Like I remember watching your video. You're like, it's 5 o'clock. And I'm like, oh my God, I used to be like that. I don't know. But now I feel like being a mom, I'm like, I just need every ounce of sleep out. I could fall asleep anywhere. Like I could fall asleep right now.
No.
But no, it's like get up, and I'm e-learning. So it's like the dogs have to be let out. The dogs have to be fed. Like, Dominic's diaper has to be changed. I got to get them here, online and like, mom, mom, mom. So no, the mornings are tough. The mornings are a little overwhelming sometimes, but
Yeah. Hold on. Let me grab this book. So, somebody sent me this. Actually, a good friend of ours, Tim Mahalik, sent me this. Tony
cool.
Dungy, coach. I think he coached Indiana and maybe another football team. But it's like a 1 day. It's 1 page a day, so it's kind of like a devotional. And it's really about. It's like faith based, and him and a bunch of the coaches read it. And it's called Uncommon Life. It's an amazing book, so anybody might enjoy it. But Tim randomly sent that to me, and what a great gift that was. But that's something I do every morning. It kind of like what I was going to say is like you have to have that centering every morning. Like you have to start from like wherever you are. You have to start that every morning, because if you let weeks, it's just like working out. You let weeks and weeks go, then you're starting from the beginning again, and it makes me feel lighter when I start like that in the morning. It's awesome.
Totally. I feel like you have to train your mind like you train your body, like for sure. Especially for me, I'm very like I like struggle with that, finding the bright side, which is like, so I have to, I have.
I was watching this YouTube the other day and talking about, because I used to have this Positive Life company thing, and it had a weird take. Like people enjoyed it, but we weren't sure where it was going to go. And this guy that's been training like NCAA teams and stuff recently, he was like, look, positivity is great, but nobody wants to hear it. They're like, I'm going through a divorce. Yeah, I got to remain positive. Yeah, I just lost my job, or I just got a bad diagnosis. That's fine. But what he said, what they found was like, if you say positive stuff, like it like, 5 times it's like worth 5 times, like whatever, if you say it out loud. But if you say negative stuff out loud, it's like 4 to 7 times more impactful on your life than if you say negative things. So he's like, all we did with a lot of these teams was say, just shut your effing mouth. Just don't say, oh, the practice sucks, or the coach sucks, or I'm no good, or blah, blah, blah. Don't even say it. He's like, if you just can shut your mouth, you things, and like, then these teams go on. Right. Yeah. Like Nick Saban, that was one of their things, and it's really exponentially helped them. So I don't know, just something you can pass around. I think it's key, especially with our children too, is that we just show them to like, it's easy to come home and be like, oh, this today was, or blah, 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 or I'm never gonna, or this sucks. It's just like, I got to stop. We have a little thing we try to do in our house where we say, we're not going to complain. You want to say hi? No? Yeah. And then I got rapid fire for you. I'll be done in a minute. Yes, sir.
Do I know what we were watching?
What?
We were watching Roblox.
I love it. Oh, come back.
Come back.
Come back.
Piggy Roblox.
Okay, I'll be right up to see it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, love you. Okay. He's a good dude. He
Aww.
goes, am I interrupting? He had to tell me about his show.
No, not at all.
I do a show on Thursday nights too, and it's just like my buddy Tony and I, and he's always like, hey, your dad first. We're always like, we're dad first. Like whatever comes, it's them first, right?
Totally.
Especially like over stuff, whatever. But so a couple things. Well, you talked about, actually, I want to ask you about nutrition real quick. Like, do you follow some sort of, like you paleo, you keto, or you doing any or what is your thing? Like, are you into something like that, or is it just like balance, all balance?
When I was younger, like I used to like just, try everything. Like, oh, I'm going to fat free, and then I'm going to just eat carbs. I'm just going to do that. But my brother, introduced me to Body for Life by Bill Phillips. I don't know if you ever heard of him.
Mm-hmm.
It's been my like go-to Bible way of eating. And even after I had my kids and C-sections, and like I gained a lot of weight. I mean, everyone's like, I don't want to tell you, but like, even though you worked out and ate and stuff, you kind of, I'm like, whatever it is, what it is, you're pregnant. But I mean, I did gain a little bit more weight than I expected being healthy. So I was like, okay, but went back. It's always been that. Like I always, I don't know. It works for me. I feel like everybody's body is different. It's hard. I was just having a conversation with my girlfriend earlier about it. It's just super hard. I feel like your body is just, everybody's body is different. But my go-to, which has always worked, is called Body for Life. And it's just, eating little meals throughout the day, pairing with protein and carbs and healthy fats. It's like, I don't leave any food groups out. I feel like your body needs all of it. Mm-hmm. And I think everything works like a well-oiled engine when you have all the nutrients you need in your body. I don't feel like you should cut anything out, but that's just me. Everyone has their own opinion. And
no, that's such bullshit too. When people are like, You know,
Don't
you
eat, don't eat
yeah,
this. Like,
or you hear
no.
or you hear in the news like, first it's eggs aren't good for you, then eggs are bad for
Yeah.
you, and the blah 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 blah, and you're just like, give me a break,
And some moderation. Yes.
Yeah.
Just,
No,
yeah.
I figured that much. I just wondered everybody's got something exactly that works well for their body. I
Yeah.
listened to the book, like the guy that did Bulletproof Coffee, and he's about fasting. So I'm kind of into fasting right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I've done,
And oh,
yes, a little bit.
yeah, I think it really, I can see my body react and my energy very well. So I'm really utilizing that, especially in the mornings. I can go and go and go.
Yep.
So how about, quick answers to these few, and then I'll ask everybody where they can reach you. But how about favorite cheat meal?
Ice cream.
Oh, what kind?
Vanilla.
Yeah, me too. Straight vanilla. Favorite tough workout? You know,
Favorite.
it's yeah,
I'd say my trainers
yeah.
workouts. Yeah.
All
It's
right.
hard, but yeah, the stuff,
Least
I hate it, but love it.
least favorite workout, or like
Uh,
least favorite exercise?
legs.
Oh, legs. Yeah,
Yeah.
because you do a lot of cardio probably anyway, just innately because of what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
So
Legs
you
is a
don't.
big, I like, ugh.
I already asked you what the first thing on your mind when you wake up, which was great. Who inspires you?
Who inspires me?
Yeah.
My husband, my mom, my dad, my family. That's a hard one.
Yeah.
Everyone, people I surround myself with. I think I've narrowed it down.
Oh, that's awesome. I think that people have to do that.
Rocky.
Like Rocky, he's right there in the background. I
Always.
I find out like who we hang out with now, right? Now that we're quote unquote like happier. Now that we're watching out where we spend our time when we don't have a lot of it. And and who comes to you, to your life now in life is interesting, right? Sometimes the people you reconnect with that you wouldn't even have imagined you would have,
Yes.
even like this phone call or whatever, this video call,
Yeah.
like awesome,
Yeah.
So what's up? You got the blog, but you got the YouTube. What are you writing? You like to write more than you like the videos. Is the YouTube part?
Yeah.
Where are you at with all that?
I love to write. Like I've
Yeah,
always loved to
I can
write.
tell.
So the blog was basically that. Like kind of got into that, and then my goal is to be like an influencer about just the lifestyle and maybe some clothes, and I'm just kind of like kind of working it out, kind of finding my path and stuff like that. But my blog is huge. I love it. Kind of sends more of my message and what I'm about, even though I know people really don't want to read all that, but I like to write.
I
And
think yeah.
fun, yes, I'm just like, so it's kind of hard. So I don't know. I like the writing part.
I could tell. And people like to read it. There's comments. I read through it. Like you're good at it and you could get your personality through it. That's why I wondered, because to do the stuff that you want to do, like you just mentioned, like influence, it's like you have, 3 or 4 platforms and you see me trying to do it. And it's like, you're doing this, wait, I got to post here. And then it's just like, this is taking too much time.
So much.
And that's why I ask, like, I would say focus on your strength. I mean, yes, the video is great, but how much time do we have? Like if you love writing and you seem to be good at it, because you could still put videos inside of there that would link back to your YouTube channel. You know what I mean? And so it's a little more work, but that way it's like one thing instead of, I don't know. I just noticed I get pulled in. I'm like on Instagram, great, but it's like another thing.
Yeah, it is. It's hot. It's your checklist. You're like, okay, I posted here, did this.
Right. And then it's sometimes I'm doing it just to do it. And I'm like, well, that's not fair. So
yeah.
So it's Katie Mom Champ is the blog, and Katie Ehrhardt Redmond. So how, if people want to reach you, obviously that's the blog. I mean, is that the website, email address?
www.katiemomchamp.com. And then Katie Mom Champ's pretty much, you can find me on Facebook and Instagram and my YouTube channel. And I think that's it. My email and all that's on those sites and stuff. So
what's your, I just subscribed to your channel. So what's like your tempo there? Is that just like when you have something you want to do a video on? Do you have a schedule? Like, what are you figuring out there?
It's kind of like what you just said. I kind of set that up because those pieces go into my blog. It was a way to, I had a guy help me, and that was a way to put the videos inside the article of my blog. So it wasn't really like geared towards like, hey, I'm going to be like the next, like, what is my kid? Unspeakable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's something like kind of to work on. Like it's not really put together in any format. That's not really like, I wouldn't really go there to find out about me. I'd read my blog because all those videos are specifically under an article that has all the information. And then that's kind of like a little at the end.
How about your blog then? How often are you posting?
I post that, I think right now I'm doing it like once a week. I'll
Yeah,
post
that's good.
once a week. Yeah. Like you said, there's sometimes you just like don't have time to write. So it's like the Instagram's quick, I'm like, okay, so.
The one thing I've had some success with is speaking it. I wrote almost a half of a book. We're just speaking it and then transcribing it because you don't have time. But it's the way we speak is different than the way we write. So sometimes, I'm not the best writer, but I can talk forever. So
Yeah,
it's like, why
right.
not?
Well, the editing, I'll read it and I'm like, okay, like you fix that. And then you read it again. You're like, and then you put it out and you read it again. You're like, oh, damn it, I gotta go back and fix it. You know what I mean? Like, oh,
Yeah.
this is right. Or, oh, you have to correct this. I'm like, geez.
No, this is great because I think there's a lot of people out there that want to share their story. And then these are the little things that all of a sudden you have to come along with. You're like, oh, damn it, I didn't know I had to do all this part of it. So one last thing. When is your fight? You have a fight coming up, you said like a month? No, when?
Well, I just saw something today that I might be interested in doing, but I'm not sure. But the next definite big one, it would be the 4th of July. That one's in Florida. That's the IKF. The only time I've lost is LBL goal is I could do this. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it.
So you'll have to go. Okay. When will you know if you're going?
I'm
See
going.
it in, oh, you're going. All right.
Oh, I'm going.
All right. And is that like you go,
Now.
is that like a one fight thing or is that like a weekend where you kind of like fight your way into something?
It's a weekend. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Oh my gosh.
you fight Saturday and then Sunday. So, and that's when I won my belt was for boxing, but that one I'm deciding like, is that too close to doing the kickboxing right after? So I'd love to do it. That was so much fun when I won my belt.
What's your favorite modality out of all three of them? Like where you get to use your hands and your feet? Or do you have an advantage in boxing or?
No, yeah, it's kind of, I think that the kickboxing I love it because it's what I started out with and it's a passion, but I think boxing is actually more fun, oddly, but no, like kickboxing is like, I'm kind of like, I just got to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love it. And I know I can do it, but the boxing's kind of like, I don't know. It's more, I don't know.
Is it like, yeah, I felt like maybe I did Taekwondo for a little bit and I feel like it's like power and then boxing maybe to me would be more strategic. I don't know because there's less things, but I'm not sure. I've never done it. I've never been a boxer, but your whole footwork thing is amazing.
Cool. So here, I have a visitor.
Worries. What up, dude?
He's like, all right, Mom, your time's up.
Yeah, I know. Well, thank you so much, Katie. It was great. Your energy is awesome. I can't wait to follow it. And good luck in Florida. Yeah, I'm going to check in for sure to see what happens in Florida. And I'm sure we'll see it in the blog. But, crush it. Yeah, you're crushing life and you're inspiring. I love it. And your smile is contagious. So just keep it up. Thank you.
Thanks, Joel.
We'll see you soon.